Welcome to In Confidence, hosted by me, Rosie Dowling. In this podcast series, I speak to people who've been on surprising, often bumpy rides in their quest for personal and professional confidence, and to the experts who can help you get there.
It's one of those really tiny tweaks that you can do that makes your brain so much more confident. Just accepting a compliment. Thank you very much. That's it.
My guest today is radio presenter turned podcast consultant Zoe Hanson. Zoe built her hugely successful career in broadcasting by having clear goals and the confidence to seize opportunities as they came along.
So let's kick off with, what does confidence mean to you?
So confidence is everything. I have a daughter, and my main aim with my daughter has always been give her confidence, because then you don't see any parameters, you don't see any barriers to doing anything. If you're confident, you go and make friends straight away, right? And that's the person that you remember and you know, and they take the opportunities. And that's what confidence brings, is opportunities.
Yeah, confidence brings opportunities. Where do you think yours comes from? Was it innate? Did you have to build it?
What do you mean? A lot of people will say, oh, you're really, really confident, Zoe. But it's like a muscle, isn't it? You know, you go to the gym, you work it out and you build it. And it's a constant noise in my head. Go and do that. It's almost like I dare myself to be more confident.
Right.
And then I'm more confident and I ask for what I want. And I think, well, that worked out, so I might as well just try.
Yeah. Okay, so you treat it almost like a game. How confident can I be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, okay, what can I get if I really just go and ask people for it?
Yes. There's a lovely saying, I think it's Oprah Winfrey who said it. You get in life what you have the courage to ask for.
Okay. So that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I spent years, looking at opportunities and then taking the opportunities. And that's how I got into my career. And I thought for years, okay, well, where might that lead? Or a conversation with them, I wonder where that might lead. And it probably comes all the way back from, my parents pushing me a little bit and saying, go on, go and do it.
So they believed in you almost before you believed in yourself.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. They've, my dad was a professional sports person. He was a professional cyclist. So he knew what it was to achieve those amazing goals and the confidence that you needed to get there. So I think they were sort of instilling in me, go get it.
So he had the experience and of the fact that confidence is a practice. It's not. There is an innate confidence that we can be born with, but we can also develop it and add to it. And he had the living proof of it. He was on the other side of it, and therefore kind of showed you this is the way.
Yeah, you win something or you learn something. I was a runner when I was a kid. And actually, I was very disappointed going to a big county meet and coming second. But actually, once you realise, okay, the reason you came second is because you didn't go out on that Tuesday for a long run. You didn't eat the right breakfast, And actually, then you win something or you learn something. And there was something beautiful that I heard this week, which was everything is a win when experience is the goal.
Right. Yes.
That's a confidence thing. Okay. Well, what do I get? I get experience from it. Brilliant. Okay. So you almost sort of job interviews, okay, well, I will go and experience that. It will never do me any harm. It's like going for a run. You'll never regret going for a run.
Yes.
But you might regret not.
Exactly. No one ever regrets it, do they? Doing some exercise. But I think sometimes we can have a one-shot mentality.
Yeah.
And actually, if you, as you say, if you treat something like, well, I'll just try this, and then that will take me closer towards my goal, even if I don't win, I'm learning something in the process.
Yeah.
Can you give me a potted biography, how and why your career has unfolded in the way that it has?
Okay, so I was working at the Ideal Home exhibition in London. I was 25 and I wanted to become a presenter, and I was working there. I was selling cases of wine, and they had a radio studio there. They came over to our stand and said, would anybody like to do some interviews about wine? And I said, yes, I'd love to.
Did you have any knowledge of wine?
None at
None.
all. Just
Okay,
drinking lots of it, but no kind of expertise at all. Just
Okay.
make it up. It's fine. I think that's what people that are into wine do anyway. So we had all of these, this show goes on for a month, and we had all of these radio studios come to us, and they all wanted to do interviews about wine because they'd get whatever was left in the bottle.
Okay.
So they had a producer there, and he said, you're really quite good at this. I said, well, this is what I want to do. So he helped me put a demo together. And I sent it out to every radio station that I'd met at the show, which was probably about 60 different radio stations. But I said to them, I'm in town, your town, next week. Is there any chance I might be able to just come and have a look around the studio?
Yeah.
Well, I did that with one radio station, and I went along to them, and they offered me a job there and then presenting the breakfast show.
Wow.
And I was so it's in the heady heights of Weston-super-Mare.
Okay.
But it was incredible to have a radio station say, yep, come to us.
Yes.
That was amazing.
So you had
2 weeks later, the radio station up the road in Bristol, which is where I grew up, just to sort of compare the two, the Weston-super-Mare one had 9,000 listeners, and GWR in Bristol, which is now Heart in Bristol, had about 600,000 listeners. And it sort of blew my mind. It looked like a phone number. But they came calling, and I said, look, I'd love to come and work for you, but I don't know that I'm ready yet. And actually, even that, I think, is confident to say, give me time, I'm coming. But I don't know anything yet. I haven't learnt my craft, so give me time. And I think it was about 9 months later, and I'd gone to GWR.
Okay, so that's really interesting. You knew you were ready for your first break.
Yeah.
And you knew you weren't ready for your next break.
Yeah.
So you had that kind of self-knowledge.
Yeah. It was there's certain times in my life where I've put something out there and I've thought, that's gonna hurt, or I don't know how that's gonna be received. And actually, it's been the best move, to just be honest, So I was on GWR in Bristol. Then I went to Red Dragon in Cardiff, which is another massive station. And then I had a call from Capital Radio in London to say, can you come up and do a demo on a Sunday? And I didn't even know what the job was. But you don't turn them down, right? If they ask you to come, you go.
Capital Radio, you're there. Absolutely.
And I said to them, well, I'd love to come on Sunday, but it's my 30th birthday party on Saturday. I've got 100 people coming from all over the country, and I don't think I'll do myself or you justice. Can I come in the week? And, you sort of do that. I'm going to wince at this, that's fine.
It. But it sounds to me, Zoe, like you were really spotted. You didn't actually have to work that hard to get seen as a talent. You were actually talent spotted all along.
Yeah, I think I probably was. But I never discount the hard work that I put into those things and the ambition and the drive to get there. A year before I started, I got the gig, by the way. And it was the
radio.
Breakfast show on Capital Radio, which was just incredible.
With Johnny Vaughan? Did he start off
with Johnny Vaughan? Yeah. I'd said a year before I got that gig, I want to do the Capital Breakfast Show. That would be my pinnacle. And to get there, for then somebody to say, well, what's the goal now? And you go, well, I don't know, I've done it.
Yeah. I've reached the
heights. I suppose it's like, if you wanted to be an astronaut, well, you've had a mission to Mars. What do you do now? I don't know, so probably retire.
What happened to your drive then?
Well, look, that was just crazy times, and that was riding a crest of a wave, It was, and that tested my confidence, because moving in those circles in London and going to parties and sitting next to Shirley Bassey, and, it sort of blew my mind. It was like having nights out at Madame Tussauds, trying to work out how I was there,
Right, okay.
And why was quite taxing at some point. Hang on a minute, you're up here but I'm here. Why am I here? What have I got to do with this? You know?
So
It's
how
just
did you?
crazy. I met them at their level. I just upped it. Okay,
Okay.
I dare you to be part of it, to always look like you're supposed to be here. And that was it. And I
Okay.
say that to everybody now, you know, wherever you go, whatever you do, look as if you're supposed to be there.
Look as if you're supposed to be there. Okay. And what if you don't actually feel like you're supposed to be there? How do
Still
you
look like it.
Yeah, because if you back yourself,
Yeah.
then people are much more likely to back you as well.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So yes, the whole sort of Capital Radio thing was just crazy. We went off to the Oscars and it was just, you know, it was nuts. The whole, you know, George Michael coming in and chatting, and Janet Jackson and Jamie Foxx and Robin Williams, and, you know, just these incredible people.
Yeah.
And I had to really draw confidence to be sat next to these people, to think, okay, I'm
Yes.
supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Because it can be quite intimidating.
Yeah. And actually, your job as a breakfast show host is to be really good at chatting. And sometimes when you meet people, meet your idols, it's quite hard to be cool, calm, collected.
I've never been cool, but anyway, right, yeah.
So how do you carry on being good at chatting when
Well-
your mind's left your body? Or, you know, what did you do to kind of stay in yourself and deliver? Because you still got a job to do, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you may be starstruck around these people, or were you? You can tell me.
Well, I think, yeah, some people I was quite starstruck with. Jamie Foxx.
Right.
Jamie Foxx was just, I was like that. And he came over and he was like, you all right? Gosh, how are you asking if I'm all right? That's hilarious. But I was there to be the normal. I was there to get excited that these people are coming in and to have my mind blown that I'm chatting to them and ask silly questions. But I became sort of quite adept at making connections and chatting and finding something in common with people, or finding something. If you're interested in them, normally it will come back to you as well, you know, and people will always chat about something they're interested in.
Yes. So that's a great way in, isn't it? I think people often feel like all the responsibilities on them, but if you just ask one question.
And then, so I did radio for, you know, it carried on for 20 years. And then I was on a radio station, Heart radio station. I was doing the breakfast show there. I was in my 20th year of getting up at 4:30. I was knackered. I had a 6-year-old daughter, and they made Heart national. And there's no problem with that, right? I have no bother with it. I get a lie in. But after 20 years, I did sort of go, ooh, what am I now then?
Hang on.
Okay.
So when you said they made it national, what did that mean for you?
So that meant that there were no local shows anymore.
Okay.
So no breakfast show. So
Right.
I am now surplus to requirements.
Okay.
And they have got shows coming from London all day. It was a real identity crisis for me because I'd done it for so long, and I suppose I was known for it, you know. And I thought, well, if I don't do that, well, who am I? What am I? And it took me a long, long time. But I remember my friend saying to me, it's like a footballer retiring. All of a sudden, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, I remember going for a job interview and thinking, I've never been for a job interview. Like, send a demo, don't you? Can I not just record something? It was very, very strange. And as much as people become intimidated or feel underconfident in a media environment, I was the same in a normal environment. I don't know what this is, you know. No. And I knew that was it. I didn't feel like I was home. So because Heart had gone national, I kept thinking about, well, if they've gone national, I know that people like to know what's going on locally. They like to have a pride in what's going on. There's lots of people that say there's nothing happening in Southampton where I live. And I sort of wanted to make something for them. So we started Southampton's podcast, The So-So Show. It's So-So because the SO postcode is our postcode. And it's all about those amazing things that go on and all the brilliant people and all the fantastic businesses. and all of the big events and the marathon and all sorts of wonderful people coming on and talking about what's going on around the area. And it flew. And we were sponsored by Visit Southampton and West Key Shopping. And yeah, it was just fantastic. So that's still running now. But I suppose after a couple of months, somebody came to me and said, we want to start a podcast for our business. Can you help us? And I said, yeah, of course. So we made a podcast for them. And that meant that the podcast lady was born. And that's what I do now is I make podcasts for businesses and organizations and help them tell those stories and be confident enough to do it.
Brilliant. I have a theory that people are happiest when they do the job, or they make the job that they do the closest to what they wanted to do when they were 13 or 14 years old.
I wanted to be a pop star.
Right. You've got a microphone, haven't you?
Exactly that. I always said that. I always said, I wanted to be a pop star. Can't really sing, can't really dance.
Right.
So radio was it.
And part of being a pop star is actually the interview afterwards, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that.
Being on top of the pops. So I always ask people that question: what would you do every day if you won the lottery or whatever? You lost your phone, so you couldn't scroll. And the answers people give are always really interesting. But actually, the more you can make your day-to-day work as close to that as possible, the happier you are. And that's exactly what you've done. You've made your own thing.
Yes.
That's very close to what you wanted to do when you were 25.
Absolutely.
Working at the Ideal Home exhibition.
But also, that I think it's, on the downward trend confidence-wise, after losing my job and being out there in the real world, somebody said, it's like a footballer retiring. And we all know of footballers retiring and hitting the booze and all sorts of trouble, actually, because they don't know who and what they are. So it was really important to me to just get through this bit. It'll come, but just even have confidence in the process there. Yeah. Absolutely. Because it is everything. It's a belief in yourself. It's a belief in not luck, but good things will happen.
Yeah, the process.
I don't do the kind of manifesting thing, but I will say, I quite fancy doing da-da-da. How do I make that happen? I'll think about it for ages and think, okay, well, if I speak to them, what about if I could go to that? And then,
Yeah. But what you're not doing is doubting that it's possible.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely that. So I think probably working with someone on the radio that I wasn't getting on with, but we needed to have this, everything's fine for on air. And it really wasn't. That was, I think, the toughest bit of my career ever. I would take a long, long time to get to work in the morning thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Where am I going to pull the confidence from? I need it. And the energy that it took and how draining it was. And then to come home and be a mum to a toddler. And, those things it's those drains, isn't it? It's the people that, who the people are that radiate and the people that drain. Yeah. And it's wonderful when you meet the radiators,
Execs and also they have
So pure grit. I suppose a sense of I didn't want to let myself down. Okay. What I'm putting out there, I'm being judged on. And I won't let anybody else take that away from me. I think it's finding a place of peace in the day as well, where that doesn't matter so much. And the thought that in 5 years' time, will this matter? No, great.
And that helped you show up and deliver on air in a way that you kind of didn't feel like you had it in you, but that kind of forward thinking helped you. Yeah. What about anything else? Like, that's a really good pep talk to give yourself in the morning. Yeah. What about when you turn up to work and it's actually happening in the moment? What can you do?
I suppose it's take a breath, take the breaks from it. Know that this is not your problem. And don't make it your problem.
Yes. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
it's really easy to make it your problem and think, okay, well, what can I do differently? Actually, control the controllables. This is not in your control. And I think that actually, certainly within businesses, there are always these people that are, hang on, look, why are you so difficult? You think, I always remember working with somebody and I said to her, when could we meet then on Monday? Is 2:00 any good? And she said to me, I can't do 1:00 and I can't do 3:00. And I thought, why would you tell me what you can't do?
Yeah.
That's a very strange place. That's very negative.
Having said that, I also noticed that two people can come to the same situation with huge amounts of goodwill and still see it completely differently.
Yes.
So that's obviously a different matter, but it is astonishing how differently people can see the world. It's amazing that anything actually does get done because of how differently we approach things.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love philosophy of not making it your problem, as you said, and actually that's someone else's story.
Yes.
And your story is you're showing up and you're professional and you're a great co-host.
Yes. Yes. And keep those confidence levels up because they're looking for you to drop them.
Yeah.
And that's not right,
So interestingly, you should mention this because you said you're going into work, you had a challenging situation there, and then you're coming home and you're a single mum.
Yeah.
And you're a single mum and you have been ever since your daughter was born. So do you want to say a little bit about that and some of the confidence lessons that you've learned from that?
So I think the most vulnerable and the most scared I've ever been in my life is when my then partner, decided that he didn't want to be part of the pregnancy, the child, all the rest of it. And so I was pregnant and going to have a baby and do the whole thing on my own. And I was self-employed. It was mind-blowing. And there's a whole heap of things that went on there. But yet again, it's me and my mind dragging me through these things and saying, you know what, you're stronger than you know. Come on, you got this, you got this, you got this. Okay, I know you don't want to have this right now, but you got this, it's fine. What I've learned is that ask people for help. That's a real confidence thing because everybody says, just shout if you need something. Actually, what I need is for me to not shout you, just do it. And I think now when anything happens to any of my friends, I turn up. Right, do you need the ironing done? Right, let me cook dinner. Here's dinner. Here's da-da-da-da. Just do it. Do not wait for somebody to shout you when they need you because they won't. 9 times out of 10, they won't. I've had to pay for babysitters and, lots of people done me lots and lots of favors. But you have to also remember that they're doing you a favor because they like you, because they're your mate and they're very happy to help. And they quite like spending time with your daughter. So this is a lovely thing.
In another of our podcast episodes, I interviewed David Robson, who wrote the book, The Laws of Connection.
Oh, yes.
One of the laws of connection is asking for help because it's one of the most bonding things that we can do for human beings is to help each other. And we forget that other people want to help us. But I really like what you just said about being specific. So on both ends, number one, when you can see someone needs help, don't just say, just shout. Actually find out specifically what they want. And then on the other side of it, when you ask very clearly for that one thing, people will give it to you. And being able to accept help is also a huge confidence milestone, isn't it?
Yes. It's really hard. Do you know what? It's like accepting a compliment. And I learned this a long, long time ago. People find it so hard to accept a compliment. And I say to them, look, a compliment is a gift. So if I give you a gift, don't then say, wow, where's that come from? Bit cheap.
Yeah.
No, say, thank you so much. Yeah. That's it. Do not say anything afterwards. Do not say, it was £6 from a charity shop. Do not do any of that stuff.
Exactly. It's chic and it's a real sign of confidence to accept a compliment and to accept help.
And to be able to do it, but it's one of those really tiny tweaks that you can do that makes your brain so much more confident, just accepting a compliment. Thank you very much. That's it.
Very true. So, as I mentioned, lots of my listeners are execs. They deal with confidence issues every day. So, it's a weird thing because they've got to the top, but they still have these issues. And it's actually harder to name the issues out loud because you're supposed to be at the top and you're supposed to be running the show. So, I'm thinking there's a parallel here with you. Because when you're live on air and you're at the top of your game, you're seen as this powerhouse, which you are. What are some of your tips for people who feel like they're on show all the time?
I think confidence grows with, I suppose, repetition. So let's talk about, public speaking on stage. Run that script, run what you want to say over and over and over, out loud, on the same stage, as many times as you can. You want it to be up here. You don't want to be trying to think of it and trying to remember it. You don't want to be reading it word for word. Run it, run it, run it. And actually, it's sort of the same in everything else. Run it, run it, run it. Because the easier it is to do those things, the easier it is to tap into your confidence, the more that you can and the bigger it will be.
Yes.
And I also think that a little bit of vulnerability grows confidence.
Okay.
It feels like it's jumping off a cliff. It feels like it's that massive step to say, do you know what? I'm actually perimenopausal and I just feel a bit weird. But actually, that will grow the confidence because something like that, and I did that at the beginning of this year. I sort of said, hands up, this is where I am. I'm not feeling great at the moment. But because of the way that you are then supported and people coming in and saying, so am I.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's work around it rather than pretend it's not happening. Yeah.
Yes.
It's such an interesting thing that you say about practicing and preparation, because that's something that I'm really big on as well. And we use a lot of theatre techniques in the work that I do. Something that always amuses me is that in business, we expect to just show up and present or run a meeting. And in theatre, we have a minimum of 4 weeks. Well, in West End shows, it's 4 or 5 weeks to rehearse. And not just that, everything is blocked out. So the entire stage in the rehearsal room is blocked out in masking tape. So the walk on, the walk off, nothing is left to chance. The actor is never, ever doing that for the first time.
Right.
Whereas in business, when we want to make an impression on someone, sometimes we're just expected to just turn up and do it for the first time. And that's what scares people.
Yes.
So I love that you've said, it's about, you were telling me something about preparation and you had a kind of a theory about it, and it was to do with, go on.
With the podcasts.
Yeah.
So you should put as much time and effort and energy into your preparation and your planning of your podcast as you do making it.
Right.
When people are going to make a podcast, they very much worry about the technicals. Should I get this microphone? Actually, do you know what? You've just got to have half decent audio. But the planning and the preparation, knowing who you're talking to, who's your audience? What are you going to give them? What are you delivering to them? What do they want to hear about? And what do you want them to do afterwards? So it might be an accountancy firm that is giving you some information about tax, about dividends, but you want them to come back to use your services. So you've got to gift them these things and you've got to talk in their language.
Yeah.
So it's always about those things. It's all about the planning and the preparation, and you should know exactly where that episode is going before you press record. It's almost like the radio shows we used to have a planning meeting every day after the show, and then we'd have another planning meeting the next morning before the show. And we called it planned spontaneity. You sort of know where everybody's going with it. You've got a good idea, but you're going to react spontaneously. That's it.
Yeah.
But you know where the conversation is going. Almost like this podcast, we know we're talking about confidence. We know who the audience is. We know what we want them to do afterwards. They need to come and book you, Rosie, and book me for their podcast series. Love a bit of on-air planning.
Yeah, you know where we're headed. Yes. So we've talked about preparation, but interestingly, you've just said there's spontaneity. So
Mm.
um, on air, there are
Mm.
challenges, things, it's live radio, so things go wrong. So I'd love
Mm-hmm.
to know have you got any examples of some things, some mishaps, something that went wrong, and then how did you deal with it and how did you rebuild your confidence?
Do you know what? This is the funny thing. So I don't think anything has ever really gone wrong
Right.
on air
Okay.
because that's part of the show. And actually, the things that go wrong, it's almost like pantomime. You're waiting for something to go wrong. And actually, that's
Right.
quite funny.
Yeah.
I've given away answers to quiz questions for prizes. I've got people's names. I've got the radio station wrong. All sorts of bits and bobs. I threw up on air at Capital.
On air.
Yeah, I didn't mean to, but I wasn't very well, and I
And it was hurt or not?
yes, no, it's so bad, isn't
Who
it?
was your co-host?
Johnny Vaughan.
Did he make
I've never lived it down. No, let's not. But I suppose you sort of work within the parameters. But if you think of, the listener having a great time listening to that, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's those spontaneous things. That's why you've got those presenters in there, because they
Yes.
can roll with it. And actually, that's the best thing with podcasts is because I host a lot of them, I help the other people to feel comfortable enough to talk spontaneously, to just chat.
Yeah.
Rather than think, right, here's the company line on this, because nobody really wants to listen to that. They can get it in the brochure, they can get it on a leaflet, but actually, we want to know why. Tell me a story. Give me an example of when that's happened. It's all about the stories.
To boost
What I would say, dare yourself to do something. Dare yourself to do something. Make sure you know when you've done something and look at the outcome. Will it be like you never regret going for a run? Will you win something or will you learn something? I'm saying that you will. No, you're a gorgeous girl, Rosie. Thank you so much.
This podcast is designed to be practical. I want to actively help you boost your confidence. For that reason, each episode is accompanied by a short Substack post with a tool or an exercise to help you apply the ideas we've explored in your own life. You can find those by subscribing to In Confidence on Substack. And if you have a question for me or a comment on one of the episodes, or you just want to say hi, you can email dearinconfidence@gmail.com, or you can WhatsApp 07377 231 025. That's all from me. See you next time.